Hello and welcome back to Alleyway Conversations. Once again, I'm Daniel Craig.
And I'm Santa. What?
I had nothing.
And I'm Angelina Jolie.
That's right. Man, you are much uglier in person than in the movies.
Yeah, the beard, kinda, but,
now that you mention it.
But no, this is Andrew and Patrick. We're still us. And it's Christmas, so we thought it would be really, really fun to do sort of a gift exchange with movies.
So we're trying to show each other our favorite movies that the other one hasn't seen. And let me tell you something. That is few and far between because we've been friends for many years. Yeah. Watching movies is kind of our thing, and when we find something, our first knee-jerk reaction is, I gotta show the other one.
I told you about that, like, watching Superbad the first time, right?
Yes?
Yeah. So, I watched the first 10 minutes of the movie Superbad. And I was watching it alone. I just, that's out. I liked 4-Year-Old Virgin. It's made by the same people.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I ended up watching that for about 10 minutes, and I'm like, no, I gotta have Andrew in on this, because that was basically us in high school.
Yeah. Actually, the thing that I really want to do, now that I'm thinking about it, I need us to do a pop movie episode, because everyone tells me I would love Cheech and Chong going up in smoke.
Really, you'd love all the Cheech and Chong movies.
I probably would.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Have you seen probably my favorite stoner movie of all time? It has to be. I love this movie. Grandma's Boy?
I've watched it. I thought it was funny. I wouldn't say it's like one of the greats or anything.
To me, there is not a funnier moment in any stoner movie than when they're all gathered around the teapot and it goes, my grandma drank my pot.
Yeah,
I don't know why that is. The only thing that would have made that more hilarious is if his grandma, instead of being the lady that plays Ray Romano's mom in Everybody Loves Raymond, it was Betty White. That would have been freaking gold.
They probably just couldn't afford Betty White. Betty White's expensive, my man.
Hey, Betty White is a goddess, and I don't care where she is now. I'm sure she still reigns supreme.
Yeah, she's still ruling whatever she's in.
So, we showed each other some of our favorite movies.
Yeah! Where do you want to start with this, anyway?
Alright, so the first movie we ended up watching together was The Warriors. Tell me a bit about it.
So I was on a really big 70s kick when I first watched it. And essentially, from what I can gather, is... The Warriors is a pseudo-futuristic, almost dystopian thing about a group of guys, about a gang of dudes from the Coney Island going to Central Park, and in order to have this big, huge gang meetup, because it kind of feels like it's a universe where, like, gangs kind of run everything. So, yeah, pretty typical for New York. But,
So, think Congress, but instead of gangs, it's lobbyists? Because it seemed like every gang had, like, an understanding, not only with each other, but with the police, too. In fact, I didn't see any other gang get hassled by the police except for the Warriors. Granted, I don't remember seeing police anywhere but the one time we saw a Warrior gang member get arrested.
Yeah. Well, that is kind of the thing. Cyrus, who's the guy who got shot at the very, very beginning, I'm sure you remember. Can you dig it?
Katoosh!
I love that line, by the way.
Well, it's a very you line. Can you dig it? All I needed was you yelling in the background, Shazam!
Yeah, it just, like, it is the catchphrase that kind of just, like, it's gonna be good. You know what I mean?
And then he immediately got shot.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to know. The bad guy in this movie, the guy that actually shot Cyrus.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to him again later on.
Oh, yes. So, my question is, did he intend to accuse the Warriors from the start, or were they just a convenient scapegoat because they saw him murder Cyrus?
Well, based on the character himself, I forgot the character's name, but
it doesn't matter. He has 3 beer bottles and he gets dragged off.
But from what I understand, him as a character really doesn't. He doesn't really plan things out.
Yeah,
he knew he was planning on assassinating Cyrus. He was not planning on how he was going to get away from that.
So he's kind of like the gang version of the Joker. He's just kind of insane and just doing whatever.
To a degree, yeah.
Well, I remember him being really sweaty, really nervous. It looked like he was on something like either a shit ton of cocaine or meth.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me anyway.
Yeah, it is like, and throughout the entire movie, you just kind of assume he's drunk or on drugs or maybe just completely delusional. No, that's really explained. But
it didn't matter. It wasn't important to the story. He shot somebody, framed the Warriors,
correct.
And then when everybody hunts him down and they find out the truth, he gets dragged away. And it never explicitly says what happens to him, but I'm going to assume he's about... he's having a bad day.
He got blood-eagled.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but...
Well, they're on Coney Island. Maybe they just force-feed him, like, god-awful carny food.
Ugh. Could you imagine an eternity worth of eating nothing but funnel cake?
I mean, it sounds delicious until you... I'm sorry. Anyone who's ever eaten a funnel cake knows exactly what I'm talking about. It looks good. It smells good. You start digging in. You get about 2/3 of the way and you realize, oh God, this was a mistake. Now imagine getting to that point that, oh God, and that's the rest of your life.
It's kind of the warm equivalent of like when you're when you're drinking a slushie. You're like, wow, this is really good, and I'm glad I did this.
Oh, brain freeze. You know the funny thing about brain freezes? My mom, almost my entire childhood, thought I was lying about them. Because she cannot get them.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Do you know how she finally started to believe me when I told her I was getting brain freezes?
Sure.
She saw it on an episode of Oprah.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't believe me for years. And we would go to Sonic and get a blue coconut slush for me a lot. Like, we would go there when I was a kid probably every other week.
Blue coconut was the best one.
It really was.
We really are Midwestern as fuck.
I know. I'm okay with it. And every time, I'm like 6. Of course I'm going to drink that sucker as fast as I can. And immediately start slamming my head into the dashboard. My mom's like, are you okay? No, my brain's frozen. It hurts. She'd be like, quit acting up. Yeah. I promise, I'm not lying.
And then, of course, like, Oprah said something, and for some reason, old women cannot deny Oprah at all. Like, anything she says, happened. But,
Is Oprah Black Jesus?
Only to old women, yes.
Oh, okay. Black Jesus! I rode into town on an ass. Yo, mama's ass. Black Jesus!
You were not clever enough. You had to have gotten that from something, right?
It was off of Family Guy. Of course, I have watched every single episode of Family Guy multiple times. In fact, it used to be, the first 5 or 6 seasons used to be on a constant running loop on my TV back in high school. I know way too much about some of the early Family Guy stuff.
Yeah.
Which is actually kind of fun, because there was an episode of Family Guy where they all went back in time. It's one of the newer seasons, but they got transferred back in time. Not to things they did in the past, but to old cutaway jokes.
Huh.
Literally, the very first cutaway if I'm not mistaken, was the one with Hitler trying to pump iron in the gym, looks over and sees the Jewish guy all buffed up and grrr, and they get and they all get teleported to that gym, and they see this scene, and Lois is looking at everybody, goes, Should we do something? No, we can't interfere with the timeline. And after they've all got done arguing, Meg just walks over holding Hitler's decapitated head and like spikes it on the ground. Booyah, bitch, I got this! Because of course it would be Meg. And it was amazing. And they went back through some of the very first cutaway jokes. It was amazing.
Oh, man.
But so honestly, The Warriors, not a bad movie. It's definitely not going to be one of my all-time favorite movies because I didn't watch it when it would have been a lot more impactful, and I don't know, maybe I just don't understand the movie as well. I've never been to New York, so you probably watched it, and you're like, oh, hey, I know that place, and hey, that's kind of cool. Yeah. It might have a little bit of blast from the past to you, but for me, it's just...
actually, I really like it. I've liked it before I went to New York, but I just really like 70s movies, and it was like weird and dystopian, and like this big, huge adventure. It kind of felt a little bit like The Odyssey, but like 70s.
And see,
the music was really cool too.
I guess I always preferred 80s movies because that's when they really started to perfect action movies. Yeah. And when they take a movie and they almost remake 80s action movies, I really love that because that will actually bring us into your first movie that I ended up.
Oh, yeah. So...
Red!
I never got around to Red because there's a thing going on. There were so many callbacks to 80s action movies at the time that Red just kind of got slipped through the cracks for me. Like, I didn't actually watch it.
Right. I did back in Job Corps. While you were off being, Mr. Cool lead singer of a punk band, I was trying not to get my ass kicked in Kentucky.
Did it work?
Yeah. I only got snuck attacked once. Hey. And luckily he just punched me in the back of the head, which is... I didn't even feel it. All I remember is rocking forward and I go, what the hell just happened? I turn around, there's like 3 guys dragging one back. I had no idea who he was or what was going on, but...
Well, the good news is you definitely got punched less than I did.
Well, I wasn't in boxing, so I would hope so.
Yeah.
So, Red has Bruce Willis. He's a retired CIA operative.
Yeah.
He's best friends with Morgan Freeman, who... I'm assuming was probably in intelligence gathering, since throughout the movie that's what he's doing is gathering intelligence.
Yeah, he's not really doing a whole lot of actual action.
And
not that that's a bad thing.
And who was the guy that you really liked? Was that Malkovich?
Oh, John Malkovich. Yes, he is. He kind of reminded me a little bit of Howling Mad Murdoch. So.
Oh yeah. I love the A-Team.
Yeah, the A-Team is the best. But
so, and I'm sorry, just like, hey, are we going somewhere? I'm getting the pig.
Yeah,
I liked that pig.
And that is one thing I noticed about it is that like the Expendables felt it was a really good homage by doing references. There's tons and tons of cameos, like there's tons and tons of references. And I feel like Red put more of an emphasis on more of like the writing and stuff.
They did, because whereas 80s action movies was all about the lone hero, this was more of a throwback to like the old 80s 007 spy movies.
Yeah, it definitely...
this could literally be a direct
of the A-Team.
Right, and this could have been a direct homage to it, because it's not even like they're all still in there. They're not young men in this movie. It's they were active in the 80s. They were the James Bond in their time. And now they're retired. And because they knew something, back from the 80s. Remember, this whole thing started because something that happened back in 87 is now trying to come to light.
Yeah.
So they were the 80s James Bond, the CIA, and all of
the
this.
Roger Moore era, no less.
Oh, yeah.
Hence why, Bruce Willis is so charming. Bruce Willis is always incredibly charming. I don't know how he does it. There's a reason he bagged Demi Moore. I'm just saying.
I also liked how his character was, especially when it came to the female lead there. As the first time they meet, she's just walking through his house and he's trying to introduce himself without... He's like, oh, hi, okay.
Yeah, but it's still kind of like...
You still walk into your apartment and there is a man you've never met before just standing there.
Yeah.
And then not only find out that this is somebody that has been calling you for weeks, even though that you thought you were just friendly on the phone, oh my god, now he's in my house. That is Stalker 101.
Yeah.
And I 100% is the first place my mind would... If I was talking to some chick on the phone every so often for weeks, and then I come home and she's in my house, and started cleaning, like, stuff in my house has been moved because she's like, oh, I just rearranged a little. Okay.
Yeah. If that was any other movie, it'd be a way different movie. But like Bruce Willis kind of sells it. He's just like, yeah, it was real dirty, so I decided to clean it up a little bit. Anyway, put on this stock tape. We're gonna go for a ride.
Speaking of that, that's actually gonna lead me into my next movie, Rocky. I know it's hard to believe. I've never seen the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
Never seen any of them. And I watched Rocky. It was, considering it's the very first movie Sylvester Stallone ever did, and the first movie he ever wrote, the first screenplay, it's not bad. It's just... There's a few scenes I feel like we really could have cut down, especially considering the movie came out in, 71?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 2-hour movie, which was not a common thing back then.
Yeah, it was one of those things I was honestly a little bit hesitant to show you, just because everybody talks about it like it's this incredibly, insanely good movie, and I didn't want it to get overhyped for you.
Honestly, I wasn't sure how much I could get overhyped for it. It's a boxing movie, and I'm not exactly a great person for boxing metaphors in movie, or just any sport movie in general.
Yeah.
But the fact that they didn't spend all of their time on boxing, and that it wasn't... Honestly, the first 2/3 of the movie had almost no boxing whatsoever in it. It was Rocky's journey to preparing himself for this fight.
It was
a very good movie.
Supposedly, the movie invented the montage. It's actually a really historically important movie, despite it being about just this weird, maybe a little touched guy from Philly fighting against a pro.
And again, hearkening back to what we were talking about on Red and it being kind of creepy, the way he started dating Adrian,
yes.
Okay, yeah, for some reason I thought I said that wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's just like, why don't you come on in? Oh, I don't think I should. I said, get in the house. Oh. Hey, you want to sit down? No, I don't think you should. Sit down. Okay. Rocky? Hey, I'm gonna kiss you now. You don't have to kiss me back. Oh God, Rocky, stop!
Yeah.
I started to get real uncomfortable. I'm sitting here thinking Adrian was with Rocky all these years because of freaking Stockholm Syndrome.
I mean, no. I always saw Rocky as like a really good person, but really, really awkward, especially in the first movie.
And we know he is. I mean, he even admits it himself every time he talked to Paulie, right? The brother?
Yeah, I think that's Paulie.
I think so. It's your favorite movie! How would you know?
That doesn't mean I remember everyone's names. I remember Rocky, Mickey, and Adrian! So...
Who the fuck was that?
That was me attempting terribly to do Sylvester Stallone. I know it didn't work, but I thought it was a little more obvious.
You've got too much tension in your jowls. Hang loose. Make it feel like your jaw's barely connected.
I am am the law.
I am the law. That is still one. That's one of those movies we're gonna have to get into.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some '80s action months, or just action movies in general.
And just like how Halloween is always like my thing that we do with my control, this is gonna be your thing. This is gonna be just, I'm gonna let you have fun. I'm gonna do the research with you, and we're gonna talk about it.
You know what? March is my birthday. How about we make Action Movie Month March?
Yeah, cool.
I am one of the first...
It also happens during my favorite holiday, and I'll drink even harder for that.
That's believable, and you really shouldn't.
I'm going to.
Are you going to be like that guy in your nursing home that gets prescribed a fifth of whiskey by the time he's retired?
Yeah, no, just like turn it on, like, hello and welcome to Alleyway Conversations. I'm Andrew.
Glug, glug. Okay, let's get this shit in the road.
Are we on Schwarzenegger or Van Damme week?
Honestly, I'm going to introduce you to what I think is, while not my favorite action movie of all time, definitely one that I think was super underrated and has almost zero appreciation in my book.
Oh?
Hardcore Henry.
Oh yeah, I actually did watch that one.
We are going to rewatch it, and we are going to spread the love on here.
Yeah, there's actually an episode we were planning on. We're not going to talk about it too much, but just because it didn't happen in the 80s doesn't mean it's not an 80s action movie.
We're going to leave that with you, because if you know the movie we're talking about, and we'll talk about it soon, you know exactly what we're going to say, because a lot of people have said that about this movie.
Yeah.
You'll just have to tune in for our Action Movie Month to find out what we're talking about.
Yeah, give us a couple of months to get everything figured out. It's going to be real cool. We're going to keep on doing stuff.
Oh yeah, speaking of, something I wanted to mention. The video that we have playing in the background right now is going to be my favorite Castlevania game, Castlevania Curse of Darkness. Came out on the original Xbox. It was not well received. It was one of the first 3D Castlevania games, and even though it's better than anything that came out on the 64, I still really enjoyed it. So if any of you would like to see us actually play it and actually, have the volume on, talk about the gameplay, we want to do more than just the podcast, so we don't mind doing some game streams or some live reactions, Let us know what you think, and we've got a couple of different things. I found Need for Speed Underground 2, which a lot of people consider one of the best racing games of all time. I also have Most Wanted in Carbon. Carbon being my absolute favorite one, because it finally introduced classic muscle cars. Because before this, you had like the Mustang, but it was like the 2008 version. It was all more modern cars, and I'm a classics fan.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, Midnight Club had muscle cars more or less from the start.
Yeah, I didn't like the map system on Midnight Club. It's like, oh, as long as you get from this point to this checkpoint, you can go any way you want. No thanks, I'd rather have a track, because trying to figure out on the fly, okay, I need to turn right, and then I turn left, oh crap, no, I should have gone another block up, so now I'm going and really screwing with my speed. See, I'm terrible at those games.
Are you sure it's not just because you were a dumb fucking kid and didn't really, have
No,
that
I'm pretty sure I'm still dumb as fuck now.
Yeah, I didn't really have that problem with, like, Midnight Club 3.
And that's the only one I've played.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more. But, personally, I really liked LA. 3 is probably my favorite, but I will admit, LA is probably the better game.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, next, I showed Patrick probably not just my favorite movie of all time, but probably the greatest made movie of all time. And if it's not the greatest movie of all time, it is definitely in the top, I would say 5, is how good it is.
Yeah, it is definitely, as far as, like, actually being entertaining goes. I'm not seeing it reinventing the wheel or like doing something new and innovative. It was just like a really, really fun movie to watch.
It's one of those movies that it didn't need to reinvent the wheel. It wasn't trying to make anything new. It was taking everything that was at the time and just perfecting it.
Yeah. And I would say yeah, so if you don't know, we're talking about The Princess Bride.
And I cannot suck this movie's dick enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dick to suck.
And a lot of beautiful dick, too.
Yeah, that was the one thing I noticed, just kind of watching it the first time, like, everyone's hot. Why is everyone hot?
The bad guy's hot, the torturer's hot,
yeah.
Everyone. The only person who wasn't really hot was either Andre the Giant and...
I don't know. I think Andre the Giant's pretty hot, but I was really into wrestling there for a while.
Right, but who's going to tell that to his face? Excuse me, Mr. 7-foot-tall man who could crush my head with a single hand?
Yeah.
You fugly. No, besides, I've heard nothing but amazingly nice, sweet things about the man in real life.
Yeah, he's apparently a really, really nice guy in real life.
Not only that, but the first, behind-the-scenes story I ever heard about Andre the Giant...
Was it the fart?
Yes! So, yeah, apparently he was filming one day, and he was having some stomach problems, and the director's like, do you need a minute? He goes, hang on, and let out about, what did they say, about a 30-second, unbroken, long fart. I mean, this thing must have let off more pressure than a freaking semi-truck releasing tire.
Yeah, I could see that just now, like, Rob Reiner's just like, you okay? I'm bad now, Chief.
Yeah. And, yeah, that was like the first story. And, I think I heard the story when I'm 13. I'm still prime for fart jokes. That's what I'm 13.
Dude, we're in our 30s and still laugh at fart jokes. I'm just saying.
Remember superhero movie fart joke?
See, we're not even making the joke. We're thinking about the joke and laughing about it. We are in our mid-30s. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, but remember when you said, fart jokes are so immature, I don't think I'll laugh at all. And my first reaction was, I gotta show him superhero movie. And those of you who know the movie, know the scene where the grandma flips over on the couch and just keeps...
It's one of those things, it's lowbrow, and especially, because at that point, the movies were, really just plummeting downhill.
Oh, yeah, the last 2 or 3 were terrible. Superhero movie actually was the one bright spot. The clouds broke open for the sun to shine through, and then immediately was swept away in a hurricane.
Yeah, it actually, I noticed the series as a whole really, really... felt like a Leslie Nielsen movie.
And they had him in it.
Yeah, they actually had him in there.
They had a great cast in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who played the Time Lord, I cannot remember who he was in real life.
What are you talking about?
The main bad guy?
Oh, yeah, that was, I don't remember his name, but I remember he was Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, also, the best friend was,
Kevin Hart.
Yeah!
And, I am currently watching a Kevin Hart movie.
I'm sorry.
I'm a Borderlands fan. It's what happens. I'm gonna get through this. It's just gonna take a lot of beers.
There. I won't be there for you. Not this time.
Yeah, no. I didn't even, bother telling you or our other roommate about it. Just, they don't want to see this.
No. But The Princess Bride is... I mean, it came out in 89. What's there to say about this movie that hasn't been said by 10,000 other people voicing their opinion?
Everybody already kind of knows about the fart story and the sword fight story. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I feel like it doesn't have to reinvent the wheel, and it didn't, but it was a really fun movie the entire time. I was just like, oh, yeah.
And this movie, actually, oh god,
Everything about Inigo Montoya is yes.
They made the two greatest memes of all time, before memes were even a thing. The second one is ROUS's, just mentioning that, like, 70-80% of our audience is immediately going to know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know, go watch the movie, you heathens.
Or play some D&D. That tends to happen a lot.
Especially with an older group.
Yeah.
And the greatest meme of all time, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father.
I actually remember that my first exposure to Princess Bride was a picture of Inigo Montoya. It was a demotivational poster because that was how we received our memes back in the day.
I love demotivational posters. I still find them.
But, beautiful. Yeah, it just has Inigo Montoya. He knows what you did and what he's going to do about it.
God, I love this.
And now I can laugh. At the time, I was just like,
I don't get it.
Whatever. Moving on.
You know, I know his actor played him, and then I know he played the elder... I don't know what to call this guy. He would be like the mentor in Criminal Minds. He was only in it for like 3 seasons. But those two things are like 25 years apart. I have no idea what or even if he did anything in between.
Yeah. And of course we got Carrie Elway, who ended up playing Robin Hood in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, I love
my first Mel Brooks movie ever. I think I watched it when I was about 8.
And he was also the boyfriend in Liar Liar, which is the first Jim Carrey movie I ever watched.
Wow, that is astounding considering the fact that we grew up in the 90s. But,
Well, my mom... Well, it's... Again, I saw the movie when I was like 5. My mom was a huge Jim Carrey fan. So, of course I watched Liar Liar. She did not like Ace Ventura. She thought it was stupid. So I didn't see Ace Ventura till I was in high school and over in Kenneth's house.
To be fair, Ace Ventura was stupid. I loved it. I still laugh at it.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, there's no denying. Maybe she had something going on there. Might as well.
Right. So, after Princess Bride, I'll never forget that. Every time I watch that movie now, I'm just going to be thinking, Patrick's right. All these men are beautiful.
Yeah.
They're more pretty than the female.
And we actually just got done watching Young Sheldon, which I cannot remember the guy's name or even the character's name. But he was the Jim Sturgis.
Yes, Dr. Sturgis. Yeah, he was in it. The guy that played the Sicilian.
Yeah.
From Princess Bride.
I am a mighty Sicilian, and I can't do his voice.
Dude, you don't need to do his voice. You only need to do his one word. Inconceivable! And the fact that he does not say that word at all in Young Sheldon in any of the 7 seasons, that's just criminal.
I was actually hoping more for like a bait and switch sort of thing. Like Young Sheldon will come up with a theory and he's like, well, that sounds highly unlikable. Or unlikely.
That's implausible.
Yeah, exactly.
In the same vein as, like, instead of inconceivable, it's like, you know he wants to say, but implausible.
Yeah. He's done a few different things.
Has he always done comedy of some kind?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a short, bald guy. We really only can do comedy.
Hey, Danny DeVito played the Penguin, and the character itself wasn't all that, you know...
Yeah, but every time he was on screen, he was making jokes and having fun. Well, okay, he himself wasn't having fun, but, like, it's clear Danny DeVito was having fun making the movie.
Oh, so. Yeah, and that's always fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of, my next movie,
was it really? Yeah, I thought it was really, really fun. I watched it as a kid, and it's one of those weird things that kind of stuck with me. It's set sometime around the 70s, 80s, something like, and it follows a young kid who is following a band.
He's...
a fictional band called Stillwater, which involves Jason Lee, so that's...
Well, not only that, but what was the magazine he was trying to write for? I can't remember the name of it. I know it's the name of a band.
Well, it's not the name of a band. It's Cream.
Huh?
Which, Yeah, it was Cream magazine, which actually was a real magazine for rock music.
I thought it was not Aerosmith, but what's
It's
the one in
Rolling
the real
Stone.
world? Yeah, I thought it was the Rolling Stone magazine. That's what I thought it was.
No. Cream magazine was actually a competitor to Rolling Stone magazine.
As far as I know, only one of those still exists today. So we all know who won.
Yeah, Cream left with their dignity.
This is true. Yeah, Rolling Stone. I don't think Rolling Stones. I don't know what they do. Then again, I've never actually read a Rolling Stones magazine. Every time I've watched a movie about like a documentary on a thing, they're always like, "Here's the cover of Rolling Stones" because it had our picture on it. Okay, that is as close as I've come to a Rolling Stones anything.
Actually, reading it, well, at least the last time I ended up reading it, there were a lot of like pop acts and like the flavor of the week thing, thinking like, oh, this is gonna last forever, whereas you kind of know, did we really think Ricky Martin had a good shelf life?
Probably not.
No. But
there will always be dedicated fans.
Yeah.
So, Almost Famous, it's this 16-year-old kid. He loves writing news articles about... Was it about anything, or was it specifically about bands?
Oh, he was crazy about music.
Okay. So, and I guess he wrote a couple of articles for Cream, you said?
Yes, Cream magazine.
Sent them in, and one of the lead publishers looked at it and went, hey, not bad. Actually gives the kid a shot. He's like, hey,
that was also Philip Seymour Hoffman, by the way.
Oh, nice.
There actually were like a lot of big celebrities. I didn't notice at the time. There was him. There was Zoe Deschanel, who would later on be in some amazing things, like that one Offspring video. Jason Lee once more. I feel like Penny Lane was in something, but I don't remember what.
I couldn't tell you.
And I can never say her name with any amount of conviction, but Firuza Balk.
Sure, why not?
She was in The Waterboy. She was Nancy Downs in The Craft. I had the hugest crush on her back in the day.
I mean, I could understand. She seemed pretty cute. It's got to be that wavy hair. Wavy hair just... Not curly, although I don't have a problem with curly. It's the wavy.
Oh, no. You're thinking of P. This was another girl.
I don't remember names very well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the 16-year-old kid just wants to get into the back of his local concert hall so he can do a quick interview and maybe work for Rolling Stones. But instead, he ends up he basically gets adopted by the lead groupie, who then just drag him along, who then get adopted by the band, and then I'm assuming So I know the lead singer eventually, like 2/3 of the way through the movie, finds out that the kid is 16, like right before he gets laid by these groupies. This is the 70s. I'm going to try not to judge.
Yeah.
And does he ever tell the rest of the bandmates, or does he even let on that he knows?
I don't think so.
Like,
so, I feel like he points out to the kid, like, yeah, I know you're just a kid.
Does he end up finding himself almost in like a big brother role?
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like you can say that about the entire band. Like, even if he's not a kid, they all kind of know that that's his first project. He's an up-and-comer, and they're an up-and-coming band. And when you're both starting out together, take it from a guy in the industry, you will, like, do more to support each other rather than just be like, yeah, good luck with that, whatever.
Well, not only that, but aren't there some reporters that basically get assigned to bands? Like, hey, you have a great rapport with a band. We've got some questions. How about you're just the one that's always the go-between? Like,
well, there's also... I've never actually had to deal with the press.
You have to have more than like a dozen fans for that.
Yeah, there's not a single journalist out there who's like, man, I wonder what those guys are up to. Not much. But,
They probably weren't wondering that as they were watching you if they happened to be there.
Yeah. But, no, I've been told it's like a really, really good idea to treat the journalist that's following you really, really nice so you can end up looking cool in the article. Because if you hang out with a bunch of guys for, let's say, a week, and, you know, they're like really, really cool, down to earth, really fun people who like take you out to parties and stuff, you'd feel like an ass about calling them a bunch of uncreative hacks.
And yet, the entire time the band is talking to the kid, it sounds like that is exactly what most of the reporters were doing. I don't know if that was just something that was really common, or if that band had just gotten that because while they were big enough to play some of the larger venues, they weren't famous enough for reporters to be like, you know what? I should probably be nice to them. They're going to go far in their career.
Yeah. He does see a little bit of infighting, but aside from like some early apprehension, I don't think anyone really shows aggression towards the kid.
And I think that's because, one, he's very good with his words. He talked to them. He told them exactly what he wanted to do with the article. Yeah. He was very straightforward. And it did help that he doesn't have a history with any newspaper, so he can go, look, I've never written anything about any band. You're going to be my first. You tell me how you want it done, and this will be like my learning experience. And then the band, it seemed like they only had bad experiences in the past, so they're learning to work with the kid. Yeah. It's a very symbiotic relationship, and I really liked that part.
Well, it's also worth knowing that a lot of musicians, not as a rule, but I notice a lot of them tend to be a little bit antisocial. They have a hard time connecting with people.
You mean the fact that they would rather sit in their room for 7-8 hours a day practicing an instrument by themselves isn't antisocial behavior?
Yeah, I know, crazy. Like, partying like a rock star is not nearly... It does not... It
is not as fun as it sounds?
Well, it has a way better reputation than it actually is. Most of the time, in my experience, it's just 4 guys hanging out in a room with a stack of 40s going, oh, hey, I got an idea. So what if we do, you know...
It seems like the only member of the band, of any band, that is the outgoing persona is usually the lead singer. Maybe the lead guitarist. The bassist, the drummer, and everyone else is like, no, you can go do stuff. We're going to go hang out in the back.
I actually ended up getting stuck running the merch booth most of the time just because
you are antisocial as it is, and yet you were probably the most social in your entire group.
Exactly. I was the best at talking to people.
And the best at talking to cops, too.
Yeah. I was way better at talking to cops than anyone else in the band.
Especially your bassist. Hey, is that a cop? I'm going to tell him to fucking kill himself. No, you stay in the back of the van.
Yeah. We made firm rules. If we get pulled over, the bassist does not talk. He had serious anti-authority issues. He ain't doing it. But...
You mean the guy that created a punk band is anti-authoritarian?
I know, right?
You were just all the cliches, weren't you?
As it stands, yeah, we were very antisocial. We were trying to bring 80s hardcore back, which I kind of feel like is a must for every punk band, just because like 80s hardcore was like the birth of American punk. We had the anti-authoritarian bassist who mostly did all the songwriting. We had the fun, outgoing drummer, but, you know, he kind of cracked under pressure.
And you had like 4. Oh, no, wait, you said drummer. I meant lead guitarist.
Yeah, lead guitarists, we had like 3 or 4 of them, and they all left to go to rehab.
And none of them willingly, I don't think.
To be fair, I actually paid for my first guitarist's rehab stay, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that like... I always wondered, how expensive is it to go to rehab?
Well, at the time, it wasn't, like, crazy expensive. it was a little bit up there, considering the fact, we were living in a van.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like... It's not like I'm buying him a new house. You know what I mean?
And then the last movie we ended up showing...
Yeah, was Running Man.
So I knew you would like this movie. I know you're really big into cyberpunk.
That was actually a very thoughtful choice. My stuff was just like, well, what haven't you watched? Okay, well, you probably wouldn't like A Clockwork Orange. You probably wouldn't like Taxi Driver. But yeah, you actually really, really put forth some thought, and you came up with an idea like it's edgy, it's action-packed, it's cyberpunk, it's dystopian, right up my alley.
And I just realized, literally as we're recording this, not 30 seconds ago, I just realized something about this movie.
Yeah.
Because I went, oh yeah, all the people that go through and murder these people. These are like modern day gladiators, and this is like the arena. Oh my god, that's why I love this. I love ancient history a lot, and the ancient Colosseum is a lot of really interesting. Terrible things happen, but really interesting to learn. And that is literally what Running Man is. These are prisoners.
It is something that in the Running Man universe, probably in a good 100 years or so, they're going to be like, yeah, we did this for a time. We're not proud of it, but it happened.
Yeah. So this is definitely just a modern day arena where the gladiators hunt down and kill prisoners or slaves or, whatever ancient terminology, prisoners of war, all of these things. Yeah. And you killed them so that way your populace can have entertainment to make them turn a blind eye to all the other terrible things you're doing that is affecting them. Because they could watch all of these people and go, at least I ain't getting run down by a fat man in a light bright suit, getting electrocuted. He's probably one of my favorite with how ridiculous he is. What was his name? Electro or something?
Yeah, it was something like really on the nose, like maybe Volta or something. But, that's actually a common theme in cyberpunk as a whole, is that a lot of the time they will recreate, historical events. You would never... If... There's gotta be 5 people in our audience. No, I can stop the sentence there.
No.
But, there's gotta be a few people out there who played the classic Sega CD game Snatcher. And...
Nope. I never had a Sega CD, I'm sorry.
Well, I know you didn't, but... if you've ever played it, which you haven't, maybe there will be a series on games one of us hasn't played.
I mean, we already planned on doing that at some point.
I was trying to make a mystery for the audience, for our lovelies here.
I literally talked about that 20 minutes ago, about doing a live stream.
Yeah, well, your face is stupid and I hate you. But,
There. I know that's just the soberness talking. We'll fix that soon. There.
Soon enough, yeah. But,
actually, it might be because, after this you have to go back and watch... watch the Borderlands
I'm a little
movie.
irritable. My main in fucking Borderlands 1 got replaced by Kevin Goddamn Hart.
Oh, and he's even shorter than you. That's gotta be a kick in the teeth.
You're not helping.
I'm not trying to help. I'm having fun.
But,
because this is the most fun you can have when discussing the Borderlands movie. And I don't have to watch it.
But, no, moving on from that, Cyberpunk often does repeat, historical events. Like I said, Snatcher, if anybody's ever played it other than me and, 5 guys in Sapporo somewhere, it kind of feels a lot like the Cold War. In the sense, you don't know who your neighbor is. You don't know who your friends are. They could all be snatchers. Or Soviet spies. You know what I mean?
Or teeth. Because the name Snatcher, every time you say that, every time you say the word Snatcher, I am reminded of Vagina Dentata! I don't know why. Those of you who don't know, it's a movie called Teeth. It is strange. Watch it. It is hilarious.
It is Stephen King at his most coked
Wait,
out.
that was a Stephen King movie?
Yes.
I mean, he's putting teeth in vaginas to bite unsuspecting men's dicks off. How is it not a Stephen King, now that I think about it?
Yeah.
I have just described the plot of the entire movie. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, that was a fucked up flick. But, yeah.
Speaking of horrible flicks, there is a movie I want us to watch.
Oh, I love horrible flicks.
Oh, I don't know in what caliber this is horrible, but I'll give you a hint. If I remember correctly, Italian director was arrested because when they watched, they thought he actually got his actors killed.
Sorry, I never actually squeaked out of excitement before. That was weird. I do know the movie.
Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, God, I know the movie.
I've never seen it. I've always wanted to. I've heard such horrible things about it.
It is an experience. So, okay, the guy ended up getting, like, taken to court because a lot of his actors were presumed dead.
Well,
Didn't
and also
happen.
That was also part of the plan. He wanted all the actors to hide until after the premiere of the movie so he could sell. This was like the Blair Witch Project before the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I guess somebody thought that he had just basically made a snuff film, and then he had to go to court and produce the actors. Like, no, see, they're still alive, I promise.
Yeah, like, I promise I didn't kill these kids. He didn't kill those kids. Those actors were still around. They were still alive. I think they moved on to other things, even. But the animal deaths, they're really, really real. And they're really, really graphic.
So this is like PETA's wet dream.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's like, okay, now you can legally grab your torch and pitchfork. This is actually happening.
Yeah, this is something to actually be mad about. Even people who don't care about animals' rights are like, dude, that's kind of fucked up, dude. So...
yeah, that's something I want us to do, because that's a movie that... I'm guessing you have watched it.
Oh, I've watched the shit out of Cannibal Holocaust.
Okay.
And there's...
So is that something we should do for next year's Christmas?
Or possibly Halloween.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. So for next Halloween, how about we show each other... we just rewatch our favorite horror movies of all time, which is actually a really short list for me.
I actually have some things that you probably didn't watch that you probably would like.
I mean, the only one I can really think of right off the top of my head is one I know you've seen a dozen times. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. But it is by far my favorite horror movie.
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is a lot of fun. I remember I had a roommate, and that was, like, pretty much the only movie we could agree on. Like, ever.
It's a good movie.
Like, one of us would like a movie, one of us wouldn't, but we both watched Dale and Tucker vs. Evil and was like, yeah, it's pretty good, actually. Yeah.
So... On a cannibal holocaust and murderous redneck rants.
Oh boy.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yeah, we didn't want to just, like, point out stuff like, Frosty the Snowman was cool. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was cool. We wanted to make Christmas ourselves, so we had somewhat of a gift exchange.
Oh my god, I just realized, we haven't mentioned Tim Curry yet.
Oh my god, we haven't.
Has he been in a Christmas movie? Quick, think of something.
He was in Home Alone 2.
Fuck it, good enough! Woo, Tim Curry!
Yeah, Tim Curry.
Alright, that's all we got. That was my Tim Curry boner for the episode.
Yeah, no, I am fully erect now, so...
Oh, no, I'm spent now.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Bro, you gotta work on your endurance.
I'm sorry, Tim Curry. I'll try better next year.
You're not gonna please a man like Tim Curry if you blow your wad that quick, man.
I heard he doesn't really have much feeling below the waist. I think I'm fine. And on that wonderful note, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we hope to see you again next time.
Happy Kwanzaa, joyous Yule, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you're into. I hope you have a good one doing it.
Bye.
Bye.